Good morning, friends. So, in this video lecture series, we are going to discuss all the questions from question number 50 to question number 150 that came across in the June examination. So, please subscribe to Limitless Literature so that you can remain updated with the new playlist that we are updating over here. Alright, so we are going to cover all the questions one by one, and that is going to surely help you for the December attempt. And we will also see if these things come from the new syllabus or if it is already asked in the previous questions. Okay, so stay tuned. And of course, if you want to crack UGC Net English Literature examination, then our batch is open, and this batch comes with 8 booklets that will be delivered to your address, 300 video lectures you will be getting along with the PDF lecture notes so that you do not have to make the notes. And the validity of this course is 1 year. Of course, it is not a 6-month course. I will be helping you throughout 1 year of preparation for the UGC Net examination, and I'm sure it's going to help you a lot. And we will be discussing a lot of things on WhatsApp. On personal level, we will be discussing things on Zoom meeting and Google meeting. You can just subscribe to a new course on UGC Net English Literature from our official website limitlessliterature.com, or you can WhatsApp us to know more about it. Alright, so now let's begin with this video. Alright, so the very first question was, who coined the phrase bricolage? The options were Claude Lévi-Strauss, Raymond Millians, Martin Heidegger, Michel Foucault. And of course, we know the right answer. Claude Lévi-Strauss is the right answer, and he was a famous French thinker who studied how people in different cultures think and organize their lives. Okay, so now what does bricolage mean? Okay, imagine as a kid we used to build fort in our living room. Of course, you might have created fort in your living room by using the pillows, okay, by using the blanket, by using the bed sheets, cushions. Okay, so that's how you created the fort, using a chair, using the bed. Okay, you put the bed sheet over the chair and that creates the fort. So that's bricolage. The same way Lévi-Strauss say that the reality is built on our beliefs, on how we try to understand the world around us. Every person has a different reality based on the beliefs, stories, religion, experiences, and we put them all together in new ways. So he is saying that all people, no matter where they come from, are intelligent and creative people. How they create the stories? They create different aspects. Just like you create a fort in the room, you put the cushions, you put the blankets. The same way, every citizen, every human being is creative, and they just use the materials, their culture that gives them to build their stories and to build their understanding of the world. So this idea is important in anthropology, and it helps people understand that there is not just one way, one right way to think about the world. Okay, so now here we have the another question, which is match the following. Match the list 1 with the list 2. List 1 is surprised by sin, the reader in paradise lost, and then we have all the 4 options, which we having 5 readers reading, the reader, the text, the poem, okay, with respect to readers, etc. And here we have the question. Again, this question has already been asked in the previous year, so it is not something that we should be considering under new paper pattern. Okay, so we will discuss all the 3 important works. Surprised by sin we will start with, and then we will discuss the remaining 2 works that are important, and we may expect the questions in the examination. All right, let's start with the first one. Surprised by sin, the reader in paradise lost by Stanley Fish. So Stanley Fish books Surprised by Sin. Here the reader in the paradise lost. Okay, so here is a fascinating argument about how John Milton's epic poem work on its reader. Stanley Fish argues that John Milton deliberately designs Paradise Lost to make the readers experience the same kind of temptation and fall that happened to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. What happens in Paradise Lost? Adam and Eve got tempted by Satan. The same way, John Milton tempted us, the readers, in the poem. So when you read the poem, Milton presents Satan as an impressive figure. Satan is the most powerful. He speaks very eloquent speech. He talks about freedom. He talks about rebellion. He goes against the God. And when you read, you find that Saturn is a very good personality. Saturn is very courageous. He has that sort of charisma, thinking that he could be the hero of Paradise Lost. But Fish says that it is a trap made by Milton for the readers. Milton gradually reveals that our love for Saturn was misguided and that we have been seduced by evil, just as Adam and Eve was seduced by the serpent. It's not the only Adam and Eve who falls for Saturn. It is the readers also who falls for the Saturn, making him the hero of the poem. But we readers do not know about it. So that's the unique way of writing style of John Milton. That's what make a poem does to the readers, showing how literature can be an active force that changes us as we engage with it. Okay, so that is what here in this particular text. Now we have five reader reading by Norman Holland. Five Readers Reading is a groundbreaking book by Norman Holland. So that explores how different people read and interpret the same literary text in completely different ways. Holland conducted an experiment where there are five different readers, and he says that when these five readers read the poem, they have different opinions, unique personality, background, everything affects the reading process. He says that individual has different relationship with themes. For example, one reader might find the themes of power in the novel. Okay, so I am a sort of spiritual person. If I read a novel, I will find some spiritual notions in the novel. Another reader might notice some romantic relationships in the novel. Okay, based on the personality to personality, if you like science fiction, you will be able to notice scientific elements in the poem than romantic themes. And he says that reading is a deeply personal psychological process where meaning emerges from the unique encounter between an individual reader's mind and the text. So he introduced psychology in reader response theory. Psychology, thus mind, the behavior, the background of a reader affects the reading process. The meaning comes out of a book when based on the reader's mind, reader's psychology. Okay, so next we have The Reader, the Text, the Poem by Louis Rosenblatt. So Rosenblatt coined the term transactional theory. Okay, so in this particular work, we have already discussed this work in our course 2. Okay, so in the UGC net course that we are providing to our students, we have already discussed all these things in that course in the great depth, so you can subscribe to that. Okay, so transactional theory simply means transaction between human mind and the reader. Transaction between human mind and the reader, that's what transactional theory means. Earlier, what we have just studied, Norman Holland says that it is the reader's psychology that creates the meaning. But here, Rosenblatt says that no, the meaning comes out of both reader's mind, reader's psychology, as well as the text. Okay, so that is what transactional theory. The meaning comes out of personality, the meaning comes out of reading. Transaction between the text and the reader that creates the meaning. All right, so she says that a text has symbols. Of course, text has metaphors, symbols that create meaning, as well as human beings has mind that some experience create the meaning. So that's transactional theory. And now she says that there are two types of reading: afferent reading and aesthetic reading. Afferent reading is when we read information, like we read a newspaper article or a recipe. So afferent reading is simple, like you are listening to me, that is afferent reading. You are just learning the facts from me, that's afferent reading. We are reading a book just because of the information. But then we have aesthetic reading. Aesthetic reading is when like when you read a novel, when you go through the life of the characters, the experience of the characters, we pay attention to those feelings, those images and association that arise from those reading. So these are the concepts given by Louis Rosenblatt in The Reader, the Text and the Poem. Alright, so you have to understand, Norman Holland described psychology of the reader, But here, Rosenblatt came up with transactional theory, which says that not only the psychology but the text also has something that is known as transactional theory, which is further divided into two parts: afferent reading and we just look at aesthetic reading. Now let's discuss the next question. Name the theory which assumes that culture is not separate from nature and that there is no hierarchy of actants such that human is more privileged. There are four options: actor network theory, post humanism, cultural materialism, adaptation theory. And the right answer was actor network theory. So, actor network theory was developed by Bruno Latour, Michael Callan, and John Lowe to understand how society, technology, and nature all work together. The theory says that culture is not only about people and society. We should also consider the natural things in culture. Culture is not only about me and you. Culture is not about the population. Culture is also about the birds, animals, and how we interact with birds and animals. That is what actor network theory. These are also a part of culture, and how we interact with them forms the culture. So, actor network theory is also known as ANT. It suggests that our world is made up of networks where both human and non human work together to create reality. For example, when there is a scientific discovery, it is not only because of the scientist but also because of the laboratory. Yes, labs. There are labs, equipments. So scientists discover not because of their mind but because of the non-living things like equipments, like machines, like the technology, the funding system, the research institute, the research materials, the policies, even the physical environment. All of these elements are known as actants, and all the human and non-human actants contribute to make the discovery possible. Earlier, we used to put the human at the center and treats everything as a background. In the culture, what we were thinking that cultural studies is all about human beings and the culture. But now it's not like that. Actor network theory says that every single thing, whether it is human, whether it is non human, and it is impossible to separate culture from nature. So, natural or non human things are also a part of culture. That's what actor network theory all about. Alright, so in the next video, we will continue this whole discussion of our UGC NET June 2025 question paper. Alright, so I will see you soon in the next video. I hope you liked it. Do let me know your views in the comment section. That's it for this. Thank you.